Namaskar and welcome to all of you. It's a very cold morning in California today. That's why I'm like kind of shivering a little bit, but that doesn't prevent us from talking about a hot topic that is doing the rounds in India. And to talk all about it, Major Madan Kumar, himself a resident of Coimbatore for some time, he leads us through what is happening, Coimbatore car blast, and now you have a Mangaluru auto blast. What is next? And connecting the dots here. Major Madan Kumar, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskaram, sir. Thank you, 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙤.
Jai Hind, Major, you've been a Kovai person for some time, right? So, I mean, before you, of course, moved somewhere else, but you grew up in Kovai. What is your connection with Kovai? I just want to set the context before we go into our topic.
My village is close to Kovai, sir. I hail from the Kongu region.
Wonderful.
My mother's ancestors, so they all are from they either in and around Kovai and Tirupur and Erode. My maternal uncles, they all stay there. So any family event, obviously, I need to go there. So that's
Wonderful.
how I was associated with Kovai, and I have a lot of business to do in Kovai, so I keep frequenting there.
For those who don't know about Kovai, Kovai is a very enterprising city, and it's now number 2 city in Tamil Nadu. I think that honor used to belong to Madurai before, and Madurai is kind of not kept up with the space at which Kovai has rediscovered itself. It used to be a textile hub, but 25 years ago, because of the reforms that were brought in by the Narasimha Rao government, this city had to rediscover itself, and it is a very lively and vibrant city. And we've had instances like what was tried this time. Major, connect the dots for us, please. This person who was now caught in Mangaluru had stayed some time in Coimbatore. What was he doing in Coimbatore? I mean, you can tell the story the way you have seen this unfold.
So as it is, like it's same like Coimbatore. I'll just quickly narrate this incident of what has happened. So there's an auto which was flying in Mangaluru. So it blasts. Suddenly the blast happens on the road. So it came within 30 minutes or so. It came in the media. But when it came in media and the visuals are shown, it was already suspected by public that it is something to do like the Coimbatore one. But the official announcement came the next day from the DGP of Karnataka through his Twitter handle, official Twitter handle. He said it's a clear act of terror and we are investigating it. So if you closely see the visuals, so this guy, Mohammed Sharif, and along with an auto driver, so the blast happens, it's a smoke, it's a low intensity blast. Otherwise, these guys would have not survived. So they both got disoriented, they came out, and then it was seen in the visuals. Later, they were taken to the hospital. He was reported to have suffered a 50% burn. And further, the investigation started. So then they found an Aadhar card in that auto when the blast took place, and a cooker. The cooker photo is, I think it's open out now with circuit and this thing. It's a simple IED, improvised explosive device. So something Jamisha Mobina tried to do with a cylinder and a car, a Maruti and car in Coimbatore. Now, once they discovered this, and they eventually trialed and they raided his house in Mysore, where he was staying in a room. So that too had explosives and other incriminating evidences and stuff. So they got it collected, and this guy was taken into custody while in hospital. So later, when they actually trialed that Aadhar card, the Aadhar card was traced back to Ooty, to some person in Ooty. And later it was found that he has lost his Aadhar card a week before, 2 weeks or so. He has lost his Aadhar card. So that has been used in that place deliberately. Why am I using this word deliberately? Is like when I narrate it, you will come to know. Then the further investigation goes on. So this guy already had a clear ISIS. He was an ISIS sympathizer. In 2019, anti-CAA protest, which went violent in Mangaluru. Mangaluru saw a pitch of violence briefly for 3-4 days. So he was one of the active participants who organized this entire thing, rumor mongering, propaganda, and physical organizing. And he also wrote a graffiti in a compound wall in Mangaluru, which said, "We are going to get Al-Qaeda here and kill all of you." It was an open threat. So later he was arrested under UPA, UAP Act. He was arrested, and subsequently he was released on bail, I think, in 2020. So this guy already had a clear indications of radicalization and also being a communal nuisance, a community nuisance. So later, when this track was done, so they further the leads and thing to further enhance the this thing investigations. Now they have found more than 5-6 Aadhar cards under his custody, and on seeing his photo, a mobile repair training center, which is based out of Mysuru, that owner had come up to the police. He said, "I know this guy. He got his training here to repair mobile, the mobile repairing workshop, which happens for 15 days. So this guy got trained here for 15 days, but we know him as Prem Raj." So he has showed the Aadhar card also, a color photostat of this guy's Aadhar card. Prem Raj was there. So he called himself as Prem Raj, he identified himself as Prem Raj, and he lived himself as Prem Raj. And the reason for him to learn the mobile repairing, as told by the owner, he is live on TV, he is able to see. So he said, I actually asked him, why did you want to do this? So he said, I'm waiting for my IT job, I'm into electronics and stuff. In the meantime, I don't want to sit idle, so I want, on my passion and this thing, I want to learn mobile repairing. Now, seeing this guy's background and what he did, this mobile repairing is basically is trying to use that mobile phone as a trigger. In an IED, you can trigger it with any device, and mobile makes you safer because you can operate it remotely. So that's the idea which I guess or analyze in this guy's this thing. Later, when he was also tracked to Coimbatore. In September, he has traveled to Coimbatore, and he stayed in a dormitory. Now the dormitory owner also was interviewed. He was also live on TV. There he has given his address proof in the name of a person called Gauri from Karnataka. He stayed there as a person. He came there. He stayed there alone. But he says that I am Gauri. I am so and so. So his original identity of Muhammad Sharik has been concealed, and 3-4 different names have been used, and there are multiple Aadhar cards. Now, in the Prem Raj's Aadhar card, which he used it to enroll in that mobile repair workshop, got tracked to the district called Dharma. Dharma is another closer to Goa, so that's a district where it got tracked. When they went and identified that person, so the address is same, the name is same, but the photo has been marked by this guy. So you picked up somebody's Aadhar and he marked his photo. So that's how this entire operation has been done. So this guy is clearly, his IQ levels are high. He has completely identified himself as an Hindu. If you see all these 3 names and 4 names, you can clearly find out. And there are more to come with this as far as this case is concerned. And he was using one of his mobile number as his WhatsApp number. His WhatsApp display picture was of Lord Shiva of Isha Yoga. You've seen the gigantic Lord Shiva's idol, which is kept in Isha Yoga. That was his DP, the display picture in the WhatsApp. And at the time of the bomb blast, if you see the visuals, it's out in public, you're clear to see. He was wearing a saffron shawl. There's a shawl, which he was holding as a, in the color of saffron. So now we fairly can understand what he was trying to do. And finally, there was one more picture which came up in the social media and also in the news media as well. Is about this guy holding that cooker. Obviously, it's an IED, explosive with explosive, and he points his finger up in the air. Now, this symbol of pointing finger up is a clear ISIS symbol. If you look at all the ISIS attacks and videos which you'll find on internet, the one finger pointing upward is a clear indication that this is what ISIS does. The common, it's like a USP, or it's my USP of pointing the finger up. So this is the summary of the events which has happened. Now, if you compare apple to apple, Coimbatore was also an IED, but a high intensity one. Here, it's also an IED, cooker based, but a low intensity one. The cooker can carry a maximum of a kg plus of explosive. Both got exploded while commuting. So one was a Maruti 800, and here in this case it was an local auto. Another information which came is he was staying alone in Mysore. From Mysore, he made this explosive, this IED, and transported this in a public bus from Mysore to Mangalore. Now, if at all this would have gone up while transit in a government bus, it would have definitely costed some lives. Luckily, that didn't happen. God's grace. Now, second commonality in this both incidences, both clearly has a clear imprint of ISIS. Both are inspired by ISIS. Both are into the ISIS ideology, and that's how they got into this. Third, the age group is more or less same. Both these individuals, the age groups are more or less same. And fifth, it was to create a panic. It was to create a fear of terror, a terror psychosis in the mind of the people. So both this were taken to a common place. In the first case, now fairly we can understand it was the 𝙤𝙯𝘀𝘍𝑚𝑜𝑏IN's case. It was targeting the religious symbols, which obviously we know which religion it is. But in this case, we are not yet know. We don't know the real objective of where that IED would have been placed. Now coming to the differences, Coimbatore was a claimed fidayeen attack. It's a suicide attack because this guy 𝙤𝙯𝘀𝘍𝑚𝑜𝑏IN removed all this hair before going into that execution of that bomb blast. But in this case, this guy is not is not a suicide bomber because he is trying to activate it remotely. Or you put the cooker in such a place where somebody opens it up, it blows off. You open the lid, it blows off. So this is where the major differences come as far as this guy is concerned. He is going to live. 𝙤𝙯𝘀𝘍𝑚𝑜𝑏IN decided that he is going to die. That's how his WhatsApp status and everything clearly indicates. Out there, here, this guy wanted to put it in a common place, explode it, cause the damage as it can be. But if you look at his identity in all these things, it was not his original identity. It was somewhere, it was Premraj, and in Coimbatore, it was Gauri, it was something else. So this has got a different objective, whereas the Coimbatore incident has got a slightly different objective.
Major Madan, there was one picture that you had tweeted out with him wearing a pink costume. Walk us through that a little bit, because there is something more there that I found very curious. If I have to connect the dots, I'll do it one way. I want to hear your side first.
So pink is where this guy's hype began. So I actually today I had tweeted that hope the doctors don't give painkillers to this guy. He doesn't deserve painkillers in the hospital because he has undergone the blast. So that was an idea. I was a bit sarcastic. It was a disturbing news, but nevertheless, their ideology, as far as this is concerned, it's a well-oiled mission. It's a successive ideology. They always push the woman in the front, use them as a shield. We have seen it in Palestine. We have seen it in Syria, Iraq, Pakistan. We've seen it in any number of countries, even in Europe. So that's how they do. That's why I said, okay, let me indicate it with pink. People really took it in the literal sense, or it's intended meaning. So that's how it is.
No. I saw it immediately. I connected the dot here. See, viewers, pink costume, pink is not something a man wears. It's a very color identified with women wear. And who knows, was he wearing a burqa on top to try and camouflage himself as a woman? So there is, if you're wearing saffron, so I think these are two different time incidents, my opinion. And it's very curious that the strategy has changed a little bit. Now you try to do it yourself and then have Aadhar cards showing yourself to be of a member of a different community, and then blow yourself up. And the New York Times, Washington Post, and many other, BBC, Guardian, they're all waiting to say, look, the Hindu terrorist has popped up his head again. We had one, juvenile still posing as a leader who goes to the US consulate to say something about this completely cooked up case. So India, Major Madan, I have one big concern. You are seeing the 20-year-olds now doing this, and there is no control of what is going on in the thousands of madrasas that have sprouted all across the country. The funding may be private, but what is being cooked up inside, what is being taught to the younger generation, nobody seems to know. How does India get a handle on this? Because in 5 years' time, you'll have 20, 30 of these kinds of people trying something like this all the time with all kinds of variations, Major.
So I'll tell you where it started. I had put a tweet last year on, I think, 21st. There's a professor who's based out of the Sweden University, so who has spent close to 3 decades in understanding and learning ISIS. A lot of the governments take advice from him. Due to confidentiality, I'm not revealing his name. So he had highlighted one issue of ISIS. ISIS got a strong digital footprint. They've got technical people who can do good graphics. So that magazine's name is called Voice of Hind, and it was done. The imprint in it is Rabal al Tamni. It's an Arabic word. I'm pronouncing it wrong, maybe, but if you see the cover page of the magazine, it is showing, I think it's a statue of Lord Shiva in Vizag, a huge one which is on the beach side. Lord Shiva's head has been chopped off, and then they put a black ISIS flag there, and then they put the caption is "Time to destroy false gods," and subsequently it quotes something else, about their objective, their mission and things. So the mission says the ISIS Khorasan. Khorasan also includes India, but Khorasan doesn't include China, by the way. So Khorasan includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and a couple of Central Republic countries, Central Asian countries as well. So they said this is what we want to do. The Brotherhood of Khorasan, ISIS Khorasan, we need to establish our caliphate. Now we start our mission. And in that, one of an ISIS Khorasan terrorist points his finger up. So we had warned in one of a closed door meeting. We had told, we gave this to a couple of people as well. In a social media post or in your day-to-day life, if you see some guys pointing this and it's basically they're inspired by ISIS. They may be at various stages. Basically, they're inspired by ISIS. So in this methodology, keeping the madrasas aside, so what they do actually is they use artificial intelligence and they identify potential recruits, especially in Facebook. The age group is generally anywhere between 17 to 25. And third common thing is mostly they are unmarried, 99%. Jamisha Mobin is an exception, but mostly they're unmarried because once you have the family, your commitments differ and you tend to normalize. You don't get into all this. So that's their target, this thing. And then they introduce Arabic. Now, this is very, very key because this guy's, their doctrine or that inflammatory material doctrine is basically written in Arabic. Now, I can, we can always, being a non-native language, English, we can try to put it to the best possible level. But if you try to translate Tirukkural to English, you will not get the exact meaning in that 7 words. We can just closely try to match it. Similarly, these verses are very powerful. They're very intense and they're very, very inhuman. So it's better for them to actually make it Arabic rather than translating it. And so the Arabic also comes into play. So a lot of these guys get trained online. So they go through Arabic courses online. A lot of apps have come in. Even simple Google Translator, we can use it. So once they identify that person and once they have the decent understanding of the language, then they start the indoctrination process, which is by propagating this material, showing some video of Palestine, showing some video from Syria. They may portray it as Kashmir. Kashmiri Muslims are getting killed, Muslims are getting prosecuted. We need to get and fight together and all this. And then they have the clear ideology in the place. So once this indoctrination process is over, then comes the execution process. In execution, you have been given a task. So you have to identify your own task. What can you do? So there are local issues. no community can live in 100% harmony. There are local issues. Now the local issues, once it picks up, so the handler who's handling this, he supports him with the basic understanding of explosives. And then depending on his level, now few people may get scared and leave. They can get back to the normal life. But those who stand strong, then they are taken to the technical training of handling the explosives, how to make an IED. There are a lot of YouTube videos which were there, and those contents have been removed by YouTube now. They woke up very late, but the content which was downloaded from YouTube still exists. So this can be propagated. There are mutated YouTube apps which we can use, .apk files. So that's been communicated to them. And finally, you are empowered ISIS member. You are the boss who are going to implement the ISIS caliphate in your area, be it India, be it Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, or wherever. And you take the responsibility. And once you take the responsibility, you need to have gang of people. Now all this gang of people get together. Now you need finance and you need the explosives. Now that is yet to be understood how they get their terror financing inside, in spite of all this FCRA regulations and stuff. But they do get it. And do they have a handler in India? Now this is $1 million question. But what we got so far is this guy Mohammed Sharik was handled by, his handler was Abdul Mateen Ahmad Taha. He's a terrorist in search. NA has got a 3 lakh bounty on him since 2019. He is supposed to be the handler for this guy Mohammed Sharik. Now, who is the handler for Jamisha Mobin in Coimbatore? We don't know. So that's how this entire process works. 99% of it, this indoctrination, radicalization, indoctrination, and finally execution, training and execution happens online. Now, that's a bigger threat than the physical infrastructures we are talking about. We can regulate them. A lot of state governments have their own this thing. There are a lot of Islamic leaders who control this. So they do monitor and supervise. But who's going to monitor this online radicalization? We don't have an answer. They don't use WhatsApp anymore. They use Telegram effectively. They use an app called Signal effectively, and then they also use clubhouses, and they also use Elements. This is all purely out of my research. So Elements is one app which they use. Now this is my understanding of this is an year old. Now today we don't know what they are really using. And also this guy Mohammed Sharik, if you see, police have also found that he has been using Bitcoin effectively. There's a lot of cryptocurrency transactions he has done. And Sharik is also, this guy Muhammad Taka, Abdul Mateen Ahmad Taka, is also an expert in dark web. Now, dark web and deep web, we really don't have idea what is their presence and how do they, we can literally procure anything, we can source anything, any material you can source. Now, how do our intelligence agencies are going to handle, how a common police is going to handle is really a challenge which we need to ask ourselves.
A lot of stuff there shared, and I think much food for thought. It's good to know that the section of the population which is getting radicalized is rather small, but there is one vital aspect that scares me a little bit. Major Madan, assuming that some of these people get reasonable proficiency in Arabic, that is going to be a language that the local populace will not be able to understand. So they can communicate without fear of being heard or decoded.
Obviously, it's a clear this thing. It's a free country. We have rights to learn any language, but this particular language is the common platform which links this ISIS ideology with the local people. There's certain countries like Indonesia, they're very, very particular about it. It is, but out here we don't have a centralized system. It's these days everything can be done online. Post-COVID, the world can, you can literally learn dancing from yoga to Arabic to anything in online. So that's the problem we are facing today.
Absolutely. And a little bit about the dark web. Dark web is very less understood. Even in the United States, there are many guardrails that tells you what a normal citizen can do using dark web and what they cannot do. So this is again work in progress. I won't say that Indian intelligence agencies are far behind. Even the United States agencies are still trying to get their hands around it. Having said that, like take a look at what is happening with the FTX collapse. They still haven't been able to figure out all the money that was supposed to be in the account, where that has gone. It is, some of it is seized by Bahamas, some of this it's somewhere else. So see, it's it's a moving target. What is more important is each and every one of us need to understand, why are we on earth for? Avayar song is there, right? Aridu aridu maanidalai pirappad aridu. Meaning, like, it is, you have done some punya in your previous birth to become a human being this time. And you should aim for not taking birth ever again. That is what is called as, I'm forgetting the name. It's called, there's a, anyway,
Moksha.
the point, moksha, exactly. Moksha. Thank you. So that is what is the aim of a human being. It doesn't matter, what religion we profess. The dharma is what, this is what it is. You're born in Bharatvarsha, this is your dharma. Anyway, that is just my 2 cents on this. Major, we have a few questions, so if you don't mind, let's take a few questions on this.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. First question is from Firepower Update. Sir, why India didn't do any comments on Qatar inviting famous terrorist preacher Zakir Naik? I added that part, but I know that's what he's mentioning.
See, but definitely there is a diplomatic flag which was raised, and it has been raised with them. But if you try to push it too much during this football fever, like it's the world, most of the countries celebrated, we may be portrayed as a, religiously phobic this thing. So definitely it has been raised. And Qatar doing this is also deliberate. You also should read that as well. Qatar doing this, particular person invited, where has been banned in a lot of countries. That's clearly a provocation. We also have our own ways of doing it. We may not do it straight away right now, but there will be a certain level of provocation which comes up. Why we don't do tit for tat? It's like we have a sizable export with Qatar. For example, Qatar now is ordering more than 1.5 crore eggs from Namakkal. Namakkal is the poultry hub of southern India. So it's all related to trade and this thing. So this are friendly fights which goes on with them. So they have shown, they snatched us. In terms of time comes, we'll also do it.
Also, Firepower Updates, India does impose some restrictions on some countries so that they understand that India knows that they are up to mischief and they know how to hit back. For example, United Arab Emirates, they used to re-export the wheat that India used to export to UAE. Now that has been stopped. They have written saying that we will not re-export. And you understand which country I'm talking about. So let's go to the next question. Girinath Paranjodi says, Sir, I am from a town near Coimbatore. Should we be concerned? Why are these people showing their heads now? Was banning PFI the cause behind these attacks?
See, Girinath, Coimbatore is definitely a sensitive place. We have seen this happening earlier as well. Nothing to worry. It's the security. There are people to take care of it. But as a common citizen, if you find something unusual, whatever we have discussed so far in our previous videos also, you can see indications of somebody getting radicalized or somebody getting isolated, socially isolated. These are the telltale signs where you can directly write to the concerned agencies. Or if you find any unusual activities of somebody, new to your area, this is all like it's left to your judgment. If you find something unusual, suspicious, vehicle movements and people movement, you can always report. And banning PFI and this, we cannot correlate both this, because PFI was banned 2 months before. We had spoken in detail in PGurus. But the planning behind the Kovai blast, to my best of my knowledge and experience, it will take minimum a year for you to plan such a thing. And so far, there is no established contact between PFI and this arrested terrorist who's there right now in Mangaluru, or even the dead one who's there in Coimbatore. So we should not be linking this with this. Why? Because logically, this particular act of terror in Kovai would minimum take a year, because you need to evade police, you need to assemble all these explosives, you have to get it into a place, lot of surveillance, you need to avoid yourself from the surveillance, you need to do counterintelligence, lot of other things are there. So it is, in my analysis, it's not linked, or this is not an aftermath of PFI ban.
Hrithik the Great, He wants to know, does Muslim Brotherhood support extremism in India?
See, I would say no. There are pockets of few who may support it, but ultimately majority of people, we are not a rich country like Switzerland, right, where government pays you money to live. Here, your life struggle and survival is there. 95% of them are actually focusing on that. But everybody has a religious sentiment. We cannot, Hindus and Muslims and Christians, all of us have some religious affiliation. But to what extent is the question? So they are not promoting extremism as such, is my view of looking things here.
Radha Subramanian, why is there a sudden increase in the dry fruit shops?
Maybe people have become health conscious.
You also see it.
Yeah. But two things I can understand in what scope you are asking this question. I would say there are certain trades which are owned by certain communities, right? So if you say lending, or if you say tiles business, mostly it's the Gujarati Marwadis who own this business. Leather is owned predominantly by certain community. Similarly, it's not that 100% is owned by them. It's a free work. But there are community-wise, there are a lot of businesses which is owned by specific communities or a state or a caste. So in this, there's nothing wrong in increase of this as far as the intentions and the food is safe.
See, if you follow the rules of the land and pay your taxes, there's nothing wrong with that.
If you live in peace, let the others live in peace. It's absolutely fine. You sell dry fruits or even
yes. Somebody made a comment. It's not a question. He says, let me just because I want to share this. Very wrong to talk about Dharma to those who have not or cannot ever understand. Raghavan, I don't think that is true. You know why? Until 1905, the Muslims that used to live in Akhand Bharat, they used to do Pitru Tarpan. Okay. See, what that means is that they used to worry they used to think about their departed once a year. They used to do all these pujas and everything. It didn't matter that they were Muslim, because most of them are converted. If they were so Sanatani till 1905, what happened in 1905? Indian Muslim League got started. That parties got started. Suddenly people started thinking, we are unique, we are special. Whatever it is, if you can go from here to here, you can surely come back from there to here. You should never lose that hope. And that is the most important point there, takeaway there. Thank you so much. I think that's all the questions we have. Thank you so much, Major Madhan, and all the best to your channel. And I know it's growing by leaps and bounds. You are sharing information to the greatest amount of detail about the awareness that people need to be knowing. So I urge every one of you who understand Tamil to watch his channel. And of course, he does many of his Tamil programs in English on our channel. We are truly blessed. Thank you very much once again, Major Madhan. Namaskaram.
Thank you, sir, and it's been a pleasure. You have introduced, my channel in PGurus. A lot of PGurus followers have subscribed and they have messaged. So few of them had asked for a handle. So you can now Google. You can straight away do it. It's at the rate of Major Madan Kumar. You can go my channel, and that's the homepage. You can. So we'll continue to have this, kind of less noisy, more focused and to the point discussion, so that we all benefit from each other.
Yeah, what a common man needs to know. What a common man needs to know. Sorry, sir, I thought you had done. Namaskaram.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.